Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. See, almost everybody's here. Okay, so I think we'll get started here. And so I brought this character in first, and this is looking pretty close to being done, I would say. Sarah, are you in here?
She's in the chat.
Oh, okay. I see you there. Yeah, this is looking great. I'm going to just lighten up my background so I can see it a little bit better. That. Wow, that's a lot of work here on the, are these feathers down here? Yeah, Allison, I posted that out on Titanium. It's just a 5-position turnaround. So there's no renders. It's just the screen capture like we've been doing. And that's out down here at the bottom. I will update this a little bit more here, but it's basically these 5 images. And these are just single shots right here. So it's not a turntable animated. And then down here, I gave you guys, oh no, I gotta log in again. It's endless logging in here. There you go. So I gave you guys the Photoshop file that's a template that you can use, or you can create your own. And then this is the image. So just presenting it something like this. So outside of what we've been doing of just capturing the whole thing inside of ZBrush. These are individual screen captures of the 5-position turnaround, and then I just brought those into Photoshop and layered them together and added the concept art, put my name down here, and that's kind of it. And I left some room up here if you want to fill that up with close-ups or, you know, like detail of the hands or face or something that you want to show, or you could do a whole separate one that shows details on the character that you want to highlight that you may not see from the full body perspective. So that's pretty much what we're doing. No, so you don't have to incorporate the prop. If the prop is related and you want to put it in there, you can, but the prop was a separate assignment. Oh, it's on the school computer? You don't have it? Wow. But you turned it in to me, right, Allison? I think it's in Dropbox. Okay, I will, and anybody else that left their work at school on the computers there that may need access to their um, the prop project, just let me know and I will, excuse me, I will send that back to you from Dropbox. Okay, and got Chris out here.
Professor,
Yes.
um, mine's in the school computer too. Uh,
Okay.
so I send you a picture, but I didn't know we had to give you the WIP, the app, the model itself, and it's at school.
Um, oh, so you didn't turn that into Dropbox?
You turned in the picture for me because I was having difficulties on
Oh,
my.
right, right. Let me talk to Andy and see what kind of access we're going to have. I know IT can access all the rooms remotely and wipe things clean, and we don't want them to do that until we go in there and access that. So let me touch base with him today during his office hours, or probably prior to. And if you guys can just send me an email if you left work on the computers um, that you need back, that's your only copy, then let me know and I'll put a list together and give it to Andy so we could get that back from you, for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then Chris, I was just going over the final project presentation. It's just a 5-position layout like this. And
Just
yeah,
for the character
yeah,
or for character and prop?
just characters. So we've already done the prop separately as a separate project. If you want to combine the two and they're related to each other, it's the character's prop, then you're welcome to put that in the scene, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this JPEG was created from this Photoshop file right here. So I gave you guys access to that to just see how I put it together. One thing that I do out on ZBrush is I get rid of that gradation in the background. So under Documents, the background right here. So if the range is like this and I'm moving my character around like this and taking screenshots of it, sometimes it's harder to line them up if I don't have it in there perfectly. Like I'll see the gradation isn't blending. So I usually just eliminate that and have a solid gray background. You can also change, oops, I just changed the character's color right there. I can choose a different background too. So if I want to go with something lighter so I can see the silhouette a little bit better. So on a darker character, I'd probably go with a little bit lighter background like that. Okay, and then just getting rid of the that gradation in the background just so it's easier to blend it together inside of Photoshop. Okay, and then that's kind of it. So it's 5-position turnaround. And then if you want to do some detailed work, say you want to do a close-up on the face or something, you can do that. Or hands or some other detail that you may want to be showing off. Like this is a really nice detail here. If you want to, do a screen capture of that, you can do that as well. Okay, but the 5-position is the main thing that gets turned in, and then it's up to you if you want to do any additional screen captures and assemble a page with that on it.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Is there like an option in ZBrush to screen capture or to copy the thing? Because I am screen capturing with like my computer using like
Mm-hmm.
the Windows function, and it's
Right.
coming out like really ugly and pixelated.
Yeah, like this right here, the jaggedy stuff. There is a renderer. Know if that changes it. Let me look into that. I think there is a way to render, like you could put backgrounds in here too, to light it with if you want to do that. So yeah, you should be able to render something out here. Yeah, I don't know the render properties very well inside of ZBrush. So let me look into that. So if you guys want something a little bit higher quality, then I'll put a little video together about how to do that once I just research it for a little bit and then check into the best way to go about doing that.
Hey, Professor.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last day to do our projects. Is it on a Wednesday or Monday?
We'll go to Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys have another week to go here. All
Will
right.
we have class?
We will just meet. We won't have class on Monday, so we'll meet
Mhm.
on Wednesday morning, same time, and we'll just, everybody will load their work up in Shotgun, and we'll just go through it. And I'll probably have you guys kind of talk about your process a little bit. So it won't be a very long class. It's just more of a review.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then let's see, I think everybody's in here. Okay. So it looks like we only have a couple submissions here. So we've got Sarah's, let me get that out of the way here. And Sarah, were you planning on doing any additional work on here? I think with regards to the hair, you could probably get a little bit more detail in here.
She's in the chat.
Yeah, I know. Strings to the corset. Okay. I think too, you might be able to get a little more just detail in the ear as well. So if I grab that and this. That setting's up too high. Yeah. Just get some of the edges in here a little bit better, a little bit more defined. And then I don't have the concept art up here right now, but usually there's a little bit of a buildup right here that you could put in. And then I'm seeing the textures right here are the pixelation. So you may want to go up another subdivision. So you're only at 2, which is pretty low. The active points on this right here is just, 377. So I would divide it at least one more time. See how that cleaned up all the area around the nose? And now you can come in here and just put in some of that final detail like this. Okay, same thing around the nose and the mouth. So you could get a little bit more detail in here. And then she's got a little bit of buildup right here around her nose. So I would try to clean that up. And then with the eyes, you want to try to get a little bit more of a lid on the lower lid right here. So usually I'm just using the same brush and holding down the Alt key to reverse it. So it creates a little bit of an edge like this. So this is just the pinch tool that I'm using, the pinch brush right here. Okay. And With her eyebrows, see how they're kind of dipping in right there? I would probably maybe smooth those out just a little bit here. And just checking to make sure that they're not sticking out like this. Like I can see the tip of that is just sticking out a little bit away from the forehead. So I would use the move tool and push it back in a little. Same thing here, it's kind of sticking out. And then just in terms of them coming this close together on her, you may want to think about maybe pulling them back a little bit. Okay, so something like that. And then it looks like you're going completely black on some of your colors here, which makes it just, it doesn't pick up any of the light. So it just reads as nothing there almost. So I usually stay away from, in texturing, you stay away from pure black and pure white. So I would just go back and lighten those up just slightly. Any areas where you have gone a little bit too dark, like this one I can see, like this little feather right here I can see, but these two start getting a little dark. And I guess it depends on the angle of the light here. But you might want to lighten up some of this. So I always kind of go back to when I worked on Madagascar, the first time the penguins came through the production pipeline and we started lighting them. The texture artist had pretty much gone pure black and pure white on them, and it was impossible to light them without losing one or the other. So either the white parts of their body were glowing white, or if we lowered the lights down, the black parts were unreadable and they weren't picking up anything. So you usually want to not have extreme contrast. You want to try to narrow your values into a tighter range where you're not going out to the extremes. So she's, got light hair, a lot of light features on her, and then a really dark dress. So I would maybe consider lightening some of this up a little bit just so it reads a little bit better. Let me see here if I can try to match this. So even doesn't have to go quite that light. Yeah, there's her foot right there. So it's probably too light. So, but something like this will read better, and I might have it too saturated. There we go. So kind of the difference between this really dark one right here and this. And if it's not supposed to be blue, then you can desaturate it, but try to keep the values up more in this range here and not like way down here like that. So see how you lose the detail? And then if I come up and do like a light gray, we can start seeing more of the detail in there. So that would be my only recommendation just in terms of the texturing on here. And then getting a little bit more detail back into her hair. So there's a little bit more separation. And then where you don't have a skull cap right here, and we're seeing it show through to her skin right there, her scalp. try to either cover that up, or you can also go in there and paint the same color of yellow on her scalp so you don't see down to the skin. But I think with her hair too, you could probably go ahead and subdivide again, because you're still pretty low at 2. You could probably, go to here, and then come in and just start doing a little bit more separation, especially like with the braid here where it's all kind of mushed together. You're going to want to separate that a little bit more, just so you can see the definition. Okay, where they're coming together here. And then you may have to take it up to a little bit higher subdivision level again to just clean it up. Okay, so I think that's kind of it on her. Some of the hair is sort of the clumps have blended together. Usually you want to try to keep that separate, like these top chunks right here have blended in to the bottom. So with hair, because the hair moves around when it's animating, so we're kind of working towards a character going into the production pipeline here. And if it's all kind of blended together here in one piece, there's no way for these top layers, even if I go in and kind of use this and define them like that, there's still no way for them to actually move around separately, like the whole hair would move as a single piece. So you may want to go in and add some more hair on here. And I don't think I have anything set up here right now. So there's that, and I think it needs to go this way. And it's going to come out blue or something. So we'll get kind of close here. So subdivision levels are up. So we would go down to here. And then I might have to just either freeze or delete the higher. Usually you have to do that. Yeah. So and I'll delete higher for this. Yeah, so I might drop in a few little like chunks in here, and this is still a little off. There we go. Just so she's got some pieces that are sitting separately. Even up here, you could add something that sits on top of the other ones. And maybe you can even pull it away so she's got, it's reading more as like little tufts of hair. And like this. Okay, so see how it kind of separates it a little bit more. So you could just kind of add on top and it should be fine. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, just look for some opportunities to change your kind of what I refer to as the contrast between lines. And I think I should probably pull up the concept art. it is. So one of the first things that stands out to me is just the differences in her arms, how this comes down straight here, and then it comes out. And over here, you've got this kind of bulging out where it's narrow here and it comes out and then goes back in. So I'll kind of leave it up to you if that's a change that you're making on your character. But it sort of gives this appearance that she's kind of pinched up in the armpit area with it coming out like that. So that might be something. Go back to the body here. So I'll take it back down to the first subdivision level when I start doing this. And it might just be more this area right here, not so much on the top. Maybe more like that. And if it's gone a little too thin, you can just maybe bulk it up a little bit more. And then if I go back up to subdivision 3, then I can come back with the pinch brush here and then just maybe put in a little bit more definition around here. It doesn't have to be all the way around. It just, you know, putting a little bit of a crease right here like you have in your drawing. And then, let's see here. So I'd get some more detail in on her fingers as well. So, so even on like the back side, you can come in here, go this way. So the palms are a little thick, so you can push those in. And then pull this area out. And then I usually come back to the pinch tool here and then try to get a little bit more detail. If it starts getting lumpy, you can come in here with a clay fill and that will fill in those areas there. But right around here in some of these areas, you can come in with this pinch brush and just go around here and get some creases. Okay, so it's just sort of an example there. And then I talked, I think, early on about fingers. A lot of times stylized characters just have 2 joints like this and they don't have the third one down here. So it's sort of a personal preference which way you want to go with that. But just having the 2 joints there is fine. And then just little areas like where this is sunk down here, I would maybe pull that out a little bit more. Yeah, just maybe some more crease here. And you don't have to get into like fingernails and stuff like that, but just a little bit more definition on there so they don't look so soft. And then You could probably do the same treatment down here on the toes just to get a little bit more. And then you did draw in your toenail. So I don't know if you're going to add toenails on here or not. You could also draw them in. Sometimes it's easier to just make them and stick them in there than doing this, because you usually have to get up to about a subdivision of 5 to get some of that detail in there. But you can come in here and just add a little bit more detail in between them. Also under here, you could come in under here like this. So I think it's just you're kind of in that final polishing stage, and then areas where you might have some where you see the shadows and highlights happening, you can just use the clay fill to kind of brush over it real lightly and fill in those little areas like that. Because her feet are a big part of the character. And then you've got a pretty strong apex back here that's different from the rest of the character. Like she doesn't have a lot of hard lines on here. And then she's got these pretty intense calf muscles on the back. So I would probably knock those down a little bit. Okay, and it's just saving right now. Yeah, like the things that really stand out to me on this character are obviously her big feet right here and toes. Her ears are also really prominent too. So just spending a little bit more time detailing those ears out will help. And that's kind of it. I think everything else is falling into place there. Underneath her chin here, she's also needs a little bit of cleanup. She's got kind of some strange anatomy, the way it's coming together there. So you might need to, like she looks okay from the front, but when I start tipping her this way, I see the jawline is actually way under here. So you might want to pull her jawline. Let's see, I'm gonna just kind of soften some of this here and then grab this. Like pull the jawline up more to here. And then usually I'll go around the neck here a little bit like that. Actually, I went the wrong way. And then I'll use the clay fill. And maybe pulling that down a little. And then the edge is pretty sharp right now. So then once you kind of get it in position, you can just come back and soften it a little bit. I'll bring the intensity down and then I'll just kind of go over the edge here to soften it, blend it back in. Okay, and then right here, she's also just lost a little bit of volume right through here. So the clay fill can kind of build that back up a little. And I have to solo it here. Yeah, and then the neck is just, the neck's a little strange too, the way it angles out like that. So I know you've already got the collar on her. So, but I would probably do something where it did more like that and angled out. And then I would probably knock some of that back a little bit right there. Yeah, and I can still see like a little divot under here to fill in. Like that. And then now you can really see like her ears, like they just need a little bit more definition in there. So that's just, you know, working with the pinch tool and then getting all of that detail in there. So she actually looks like, I sort of did this wrong here. She's got like the little inner circle right there and then the outer one. So if you want to go with that look, then what I did here is actually not correct. So you'd probably want to knock a lot of this down and then go back in and try to define that a little better up around here. And it's not working. So yeah, this will probably take a little bit more work. Just sort of pushing this up into here, pulling that out. And then even on the back side, like it sort of collapses right here. You probably want to fill that up. Make sure this back face mask is on too. And then you can come back in and like, get the back of the ear where it connects to the skull right here. And then I'll use the clay buildup using the alpha here, that's the square, and then freehand. And then this is really good for building up areas around the ear. And sometimes see how it's affecting the inside in there. I would probably just go back and mask off what I don't want to see. So you can like paint the mask in here. I'm holding down Control Alt and tapping on the character to get a harder edge. And then I can go in here and start building some areas up like that. Okay, but those are just the main areas that I'm seeing that need more focus. And take off the solo here, just because they're so noticeable and distinct in your concept art. All right. And then any other concerns or questions? You're good with that? Okay, I will. I don't know if I need to save this. You seem like you've got a pretty good grasp on it, but I'll just go ahead and do a save as and just do sculpt over and drop it here. And then I can drop it through here if you want to look at any of that, but I didn't really do that much. Okay, And then let's see who's next here. I think it's Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, just waiting for it to hit F here. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think she's looking pretty done. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling pretty good about her. I'm not sure what else I would add to her for now.
Hmm.
So I think that she's pretty done.
Okay. I mean, you could go in and add asymmetry on some areas like this so it doesn't look mirrored.
Yeah.
Same thing, like you did a little bit with the clothing here. I feel like she's still a little bulky right out here on the outside of her arms.
Okay.
But yeah, she looks good. You know, I'm still a little uncertain about the red areas on here.
Uh-huh.
Are you doing it more for shadowing effect?
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of look, because they're red, they just sort of look skinned or rashy, you know.
Mhm.
I think it's fine on her face to do that, but I think once you're down here around this area, I would desaturate it a little bit more.
Okay.
And actually, I would just select this color on the skin that you're using and then just go a tiny bit darker if that's what you're trying
Okay.
to do to highlight or to create some shadows in there.
Okay.
And then with her hands, I feel like they're bubbling up a little bit too much here on the top of the palm.
Uh-huh.
That looks okay. But this feels like it's just bubbling up with regards to where her knuckles are. Like she's sort of missing the thickness, like right through. Whoops, I need to select it through here. And then they start getting, whoops, they start getting a little thick this way. So it might be more like this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would just thicken this area up right here. And then the thumb, just, you know, kind of check anatomy again here. Like it's just, it needs like a little bit more thickness here. And then also you could use the pinch brush to come in here and create separation
Mhm.
crossed hair. And then it looks like you're doing 3 joints on your character. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. You know, just doing that. Same thing with the thumb. Like I think you could just get a little bit more detail in here. And then it's also missing a couple of the main joints on there. So I would pull this up a little here. And then it's also a little flat through here, like it collapses just a little too much right here. And I'm gonna have to go down subdivision. I maybe you wiped out the subdivision levels, I'm not sure. But see how it's a little flat through here?
Mhm.
Yeah, to just build some of that up. And I would knock down some of the wrinkles in here a little bit just because it starts looking like an older person,
Okay.
especially on a female character. And then something looks like it's pinching under here. So I would just check what's going on under here. Like the wrist right here, like, oh, they don't look like they're connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a problem when I Dynamesh, it comes out like, you know how you said it looks like very hard edged, like especially at the knees. If
Mm-hmm.
I Dynamesh, that happens. So I don't remember what I did, but that's as good as I could get it.
Then I would hide it better. I would,
I think I can pull that down.
yeah, I would pull this way down and
Yeah.
completely cover. Yeah, just so you don't see that. And you know, if this character were to go into production, you would probably have to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing that. Same thing here. I'd pull all this down, and the weight of it too would probably come down like that anyways to cover it. Same thing here. We can kind of pull the weight of that down. Yeah, I think that's good. And then she sort of feels like this is elongated through here, the calf muscle. So you may want to just, it's like kind of right through here, like, I'm just smoothing it down a little bit just to shrink it.
Okay.
And then something like that. Yeah, and then on the shirt, I'm just saying that this looks like it's kind of sticking out a little too much. Yeah, it's looking just a little boxy up here too. Like I would just kind of soften some of the transitions a little bit. Oops, wrong key. And then this fold going this way, this is like super nitpicky here, but this fold would probably not go this way. So you probably just want to come back in here and then just keep it kind of simple. Okay. Yeah, try to keep the lines pretty simple on here. So they're not kind of going in multiple directions. So like over here, I think I would clean up some of this as well. Oops. Like instead of letting it go kind of lumpy on its own, I would really try to plan like where you want it to feel like it's got weight and where it's sagging on her. Like right here, it would definitely be getting pulled. And then And then if you try to, if you want to change the silhouette right there, you could change it through using this to have it wrap around a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, when you see it turn, it's got a change in the silhouette there that you've planned. Same thing here, you could do that. And these are probably a little, well, it's a sweater, so it's kind of bulky. This is getting probably a little bit too bulky though. Like I would probably either knock it down a little bit more or go to a smaller brush. I think my brush is probably too big. Okay. And then I would still try to push this area in a little bit more on her. And then just sort of watch for this getting a little too lumpy or pinched in here. Like maybe smooth that out. Yeah, so maybe something more like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just so it feels like the weight of it and the gravity. I'm starting to run into her arm right there. Is pulling it more this way. Okay. Yeah, and if you're not looking at reference, it's really helpful to just go out and do an internet search and just look at like somebody wearing a bulky sweater,
Mm-hmm.
and then figuring out where you're going to make your edits as you stylize it, because you're not going to obviously put in all that detail.
Mm-hmm.
But you can at least get kind of the sense of the weight, and then figure out how you're going to stylize it down to just enough folds to make it read like it's a bulky sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that's it. Maybe the hair can, they're all kind of swirling in one direction, maybe kind of break it up, or the length up a little bit. And then something that all of you may want to consider when you're texturing, instead of going for this solid color, something that looks nice is just coming into the, like if I grab an alpha here like this, that sort of splatters, and then I go to color spray like this, it'll break it up even more. And then I can choose either lighter or darker, and then I've got the hat there. I can just come in and start painting a little bit. Go a little darker.
Oh, your RGB intensity is very low.
Oh, it is? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I'm like, why isn't it showing there? Or even like introduce another color here. Just to break it up so it's not a solid color.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then if there's areas where it would be sort of worn from the weather or bleached from the weather or something, you can do that. And again, you don't have to. Like on my Robin Hood character, he's got, it was also part of the concept art that he had a lot of like fading in his clothes. But I'm still not quite done. Like I need to go in and add some more detail in on the some of the pieces. Okay, so it's just something to consider instead of just a solid color.
Oh, I think that would work for the boots.
Yeah, for sure. You could do that with the boots. Even on the skirt, like it could be subtle. You could just introduce a little bit different color here. See how it just changes it a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I want a little lighter, like up here. Yeah. It just adds a little bit more detail to the character instead of just a solid fill. Okay, yeah, she looks good though. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I'll save this out.
Have you been sending those to me?
Mm-hmm. Are you not getting them over here?
No.
I actually created a Dropbox where I'm putting the work in, and I'll link everybody to the Dropbox if you want to grab those. I did that for Jordan on Monday because her character's pretty dense. So I'll just link everybody to that. I'll also drop it here. It's just sometimes if you don't grab it, I don't know if you guys can go back and get those in the chats. Yeah, like yours is 100 megs, so it's pretty big. Yeah, but I'll post the link on Titanium where you guys can go and get the sculpt overs that I've done throughout the class. I'll just put them all in there for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then Wendy, are you here? Do you happen to have a Z tool instead of the OBJ? Oh, the Z tool. Yeah. So if you're able to open it up right now, I could bring it in as an OBJ, but it's up here under the tool menu right here. There's a load tool and then save as. It should say save tool, but it says save as. So if you click that, that creates the .ztl, which is what we've been working on in class here. So it's just a lot. It saves all the information on the sculpt, including the subdivisions. When you save it out this way. As an OBJ, it just becomes a mesh. And I'll try bringing that in. Let's see here. Yeah, so import and export are for OBJs. And I think it's, let's see here. Okay, oh, there it is, right there. So it looks like it wiped out part of your character here. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna like clear everything out here and then open up that. All right. Okay. Yeah, so see, once it's an OBJ like this, unless you save it out as groups, it's all back as one piece. So I might be able to do that. Yeah, I could kind of go through it this way. But let's just kind of take a look here. Do you have any of the clothing done yet? And that's her. All right. Yes, I'd just say with like regards to the socks that you started right here, I would just, I think you're extracting them off of the body. So with this character, let me just go ahead and open up Maya. You could probably make the majority of her clothes inside of Maya and just bring them in as OBJs. It's going to take a second for that to load. So I'll probably take your character today offline, like after class, and just kind of run through like putting together the clothes and stuff, similar to what I did for Jordan. I guess it was yesterday, I can't remember. It's blurring together, or Monday. I did the pants and I just built them in Maya from cylinders instead of trying to extract it off of the character. Sometimes when characters have looser fitting clothes, I will just go straight into Maya and just build it from primitive shapes. So with Jordan's character, that is, if anybody wants to look at that, how I made the pants. Let me see here, go back to that. Whoops, there it is. Yeah, so it's a pretty long video. It's about an hour long and it's sped up double speed. So it was 2 hours of work. And the first half of it is just making the pants from cylinders. So if anybody's kind of doing that type of work, this is a good video to watch. And oops, I need to bring that back for the artwork. Okay, so I've already got an OBJ, so I'll just bring that in here. There it goes. Okay, so my computer can't handle all of this anymore. All right, so import, and we'll grab the let's see. I think I have to pull it out of the downloads. And I'll move it to the desktop. Okay. Okay, actually this did come into as a whole bunch of pieces here. So I'm actually going to grab everything and group it and then pull the group up here. So when characters are pretty dense like this, sometimes I'll throw them into a display layer and turn it into a template. So that way I've got a silhouette to work with in here. And then I will just start with primitive shapes here. So she's got 2 different looking socks, a tall one and then one that looks like it's crumpled down a little bit. Okay, so I'll sort of get them in place like this. Like that. Add a subdivision in here. Okay, and then from this side, it's a little off. Okay, and then I'll probably just flatten it this way. So actually, let me get the caps out of there. Okay, so then it's just hollowed out now, and then I can grab this edge. And I think I've got this set up to component. There. So I'm just trying to flatten it out. So when I'm going to just extrude and then go to the move tool and push it down in here. And with this, it doesn't have to be like 100% spot on. I usually just try to rough it in there, and then I go over into ZBrush, and I can use the feature there where you can see through the transparency, and then you can start lining it up right up against the surface of the body. But at least try to get it somewhat close here. Okay, so something like that, and then I would add in my subdivisions. This one would just drop them in straight, and then if you use the insert edge loop, go to option and insert with edge flow, turn that on. It will calculate the curvature on the surface, so you don't have to keep adjusting for that. Okay, so I might do something like that. And then up here to hold the edges, I'll put the tension line right there. Same thing down here. And I think that's going far enough into her sock. It should be okay. And then extrude it and push it in. So something like that. Reverse the normals. And then I would just take this and export it as an OBJ. So that's her right foot. And go to here. There's no other socks in there, so we're good. And then for this, I would probably just like, for the little sock, I might just grab like the faces down here. And that's probably, no, I guess that looks about right. And then maybe I'll actually do the opposite here. So I'm just going to duplicate it. And then hide that one. And actually, I probably need to mirror it over. So I'm gonna just freeze everything, transformations, and then duplicate it. And then across the X scale here, I'll do -1 and pull it over here. So that just, it flipped it, but it kept it as a separate object in here, so it didn't mirror with the other one. Okay, and the legs are the same, so it shouldn't be off. Okay, and then with these, I should be able to just grab the edges and bridge them. And that's all there. So this would be the second sock. So I'm not able to take these off because they're all merged on here. So, but I'll just go ahead and import those. And oh, I can only do one at a time here. And I moved the character, so I probably shouldn't have done that. Because there's that. Oh, I actually like wipe the character out too. Let me get the character back in here. And actually what I'm going to do is go back to here. Since I moved your character, I pulled it up. Grab the character and let me see if I can combine that. And Okay, it got messed up here. All right, let me just import it from the original. All right, and then do that. So I'm actually going to take the character and move it up. All right, and then so you can kind of see that in there. And then from here, you could just start doing your subdivisions on it and working on it. So my subdivisions are doing some weird stuff here. Oh, so I had this off. So this is how you get that problem that I was mentioning, where you see the polygons right there, if this is turned off. So I'm gonna, whoops, back to here. Turn this back on and then subdivide. There it is. So I'll just give it a little bit different color so you can see it here. And just make it a little bigger. All right, so that's what you could do. So it's just a whole lot easier and cleaner looking when you do it this way. You got the cleaner edges. Okay, so I would do that same sort of approach with a lot of her other pieces on here. These are just going to be cylinders. The skirt is a cylinder. It's a little trickier with the top because you've got like bringing in the cylinder for the arm and then the one around the torso. But I would just probably make everything over in Maya and bring it over like that. Her shoes, you could potentially like copy them off here or just start them off as a cube in Maya, take off the top face here and then shape them. But I'll try to get to a detailing out all the clothing on this, or at least blocking out the main pieces in a video later today. Okay, do you have any questions or concerns about it? I think it's all looking really good. Some of the same notes I would give you too, just getting some more detail around the hands like I was showing on the other two characters. And bandana, the one around her hair. I would, I'd probably make that in, make the pieces inside of Maya as well and bring them over here and then have the little ties be separate. I don't think they have to go all together in one. Yeah, I'll try to figure that out. Sometimes I just have to start working and sort of figure things out as I go along. But just some other little areas on the character, like you're losing some of the definition on the hair as well. I would try to get some of that back. Some areas where it's pulled away here, like I would try to bring some of that back. If you go to the polyframe right here, and then I already auto grouped it, but if you auto group and then you slide this mask by polygon groups up to 100, and that's under brushes right here. If you go under brush and auto masking. It's this slider right here. I've just pulled it up to the top here to access it. You can then kind of treat these as individual ones. So if I just hold down Alt and like tap on them, I can grab the individual ones and then move them around. Your Z tool, I don't, should have a little bit easier access, but some of these are getting just a little clumped up in here. I would maybe even consider, they're also getting a little flat and blended. I would almost consider going back with the brush and kind of coming across the character. Everything's reversed now on here. I lost all my settings, but kind of similar to what I was doing on the Sarah's character, just rebuilding some of that. And with her, like this is a solid piece of hair right here. And it looks, I don't know if I just did that, but it looks like two separate pieces here. So I would try to make that, oops, make that as one piece. Okay, this is all looking good here, like the braid and everything looks really cool. But some of this, I don't know if you subdivided this and then started using the smooth tool on it, but that kind of looks like what happened here, like the edges are starting to collapse a little bit. So maybe kind of revisit that. But I would, you know, definitely get the clothing pieces in there as much as you can. Okay. So I have, yeah, I will put up the Dropbox link. Are you talking about for the final project, Allison? Yes. Yeah, so there will be a link in there. And then I'm also going to post the link on there where I'm putting your, the sculpt over works that I do, the Z tools. I'll go ahead and link that in there. Cool. And anybody else needing feedback?
I sent you mine earlier if you could take a look at it.
Okay. This one, right?
Yes.
Kimberly? Yeah, I forgot it. I don't know how I skipped over it. Let's see here. Let's go back to here. Are you reworking her hair right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's very difficult.
It is. Yeah, hair takes a while. Is that mostly what you wanted feedback on, or just
yeah, just mostly the hair.
Yeah, I think the hair is looking good. Just be careful not to like subdivide it too much. Because then it starts losing some of its form and it starts to blend together like this. You kind of want to leave it chunky. And then maybe at the very end, you can just subdivide it once. But once you start smoothing it is when you start getting all this stuff collapsing right here.
Okay.
And doing stuff like this where you start losing the detail. So I usually stay away from doing any kind of smoothing on the hair or even subdividing it. I'll leave it like chunky all the way through, and then maybe at the very end I'll do like a subdivision of one just to get the kind of chunkiness out of it, like the blockiness going on. And then just, make sure like little areas like right here that it's not merging with her cheek. I try to keep it separate. Are these all separate pieces right now? Or are they?
Mostly the front is separate.
Oh yeah, I see. I think I turned on the old one. Okay, now that's off. Yeah, so you've definitely like subdivided these, it looks like. I've got the wrong tool. That would be why it's not working. Yeah, so when it starts getting dense like this, it's really tough to move around if you can't slide back down to the original. So and it's got like a little hole and stuff in there. So that kind of stuff happens from smoothing and just subdividing too soon. Let's see if I can just make sure that it's not like going into her cheeks. So just pulling that out. Yeah, and then the brush size determines like the thickness and chunkiness of the pieces. So you want to try to add some variation to that. And let me see if I can get your character up here.
She has a very difficult hairstyle.
Yeah, she does. So does
It
this
really
one.
doesn't make sense in 3D.
That's the problem with a lot of 3D or 2D
Yeah.
concepts. You have to kind of figure out a way to keep the integrity of what the concept is. Oh, whoops, wrong. Wrong one. Oh, you know what? You are loading them up as attachments, so they won't show up in the media. I think I downloaded your character at one point. Yeah, so instead of a lot of like individual strands with her, is there a reason why you kind of moved away from the original one that you had done?
The hairstyle?
This one right here that you had.
I just tried remaking it with the hairbrush.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work. I think some of it is looking nice, like this piece you have in the front looks really good. Yeah, but she doesn't have like a bunch of like individual strands here. She's got like just some big chunks that come off. And that's sort of tough to do with this these brushes here. Like I'd use the ones that are pretty simple, like this, or this one even. And I've got to go through and like check everything off again. And that hopefully is enough. I think with the character like subdivided, it may not do it. Yeah, like I really like this piece right here. I think that's working nice. And you only have 2 subdivisions on your character? Is that where you're at with your subdivision levels?
I guess so.
Yeah, I think you could probably, actually, I think you may have like either deleted the lower ones at one point, because it looks like it's around 4 or so, but you could also get more detail in like around the nose and lips and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me see if this, it's probably going to want me to delete the upper. So when that happens, you can sometimes just duplicate the character layer, and then if you're working on the hair, or the other option is just going back to that original sphere, which I don't think is in here.
It's up there.
Oh, it is?
It's the blue sphere right there.
This one here?
That one, yeah. It should be inside the head.
Oh, it's inside. Okay. That's weird. Is it
Oh.
really teeny?
No, it
No?
wasn't.
I
I don't know where it is then.
don't know. Yeah, I see it there. Yeah, but what I usually do if I've kind of lost all of that is just go back to the character and duplicate it. And then, you know, I'll keep my subdivisions on there. And then just for styling the hair, I'll take this one, I'll turn one off, and then delete the higher, do all of that stuff. And then that brush should work on here. No, it's still doing. Yeah, but I think she just needs like some big chunks like this that you can move around. And I have it set up right now, the picker, for it to stick to the head like this, which you can do initially and then kind of pull it away like this. See how it will slide on around the head like that? So you might want to do that, and then even like some bigger pieces here. So if I like crank this up and did like one of these pieces here. That one went off the wrong direction. And then if it's too pointy down there, you can control that through this right here. That's the tip of it. Yeah, but I think, you know, getting these in here and then just kind of working with them in kind of a low poly state like that. You can also hit W after you lose that that initial curve that's inside there. You can activate a new one by going to the move tool. Under here, there's let's see, where is it? It's been so long since I've done this.
Yeah, that was the method I was using. It's bend curve.
Yeah. Yeah, then you get this right here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the one
then,
I've been using.
cool. Yeah, so that'll work for sure. But yeah, just keep it really low like this and don't worry about the kind of blockiness of it until the very end. Even like this is cutting through her face here. See how it's intersecting her cheek? Like you really need that kind of lane on top. And she's got her head tipped down. So I would, you know, with this piece right here, see if I can access it. You know, having it kind of come out more. So from a different angle, we would see her eye and her cheek and stuff. And then from this angle, you know, it would look more like the concept art. Yeah, but as you turn around, we would be able to see in there. Yeah, I really think that's kind of all that's left on there. Wow, I mangled something up down here. I have no idea what I did. Maybe that was the sphere or something. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just working on the hair, and then just little edge work and stuff like on her face. I think this is the one I don't want. Yeah, so she could be subdivided again, so she's a little low. There we go. That's better. And then I feel like the lip's getting a little big down here. Yes, it's just getting some of the planes back in there that are missing a little bit. Yeah, anywhere where you can just like clean up some of the edges, even like some of the eyelashes and stuff, could be just a little cleaner, and get the, you've pulled them out straight like that. So you could use the tool. Oops, go back to here. Are those separate?
Yeah, it should be on the bottom somewhere.
There. Like getting some curves in here. And then same thing with the color too. Like I would go a little bit lighter. Are those reacting? Yeah, they are. Something more like that. And I'm not sure what they look like when they're subdivided. So they lose some volume. So you may not want to do that. But yeah, just trying to get them really clean, like the artwork here. It's just going to be important. Okay, let's get the rest of her back here. Okay. Yeah, I kind of pulled that out right there. So, all right. And then her ears too could probably just use a little bit more definition. Oh, I'm using the cloth one. No wonder it's not working right. That should be the pinch. So back here, just a little cleaner line right there. And then yeah, so it's probably a little strong. And just getting some of the edge back in here. And then right here, I can see there's a little bit of lumpiness. So I just clay fill. Even the transition right here. Yes, I just think you're kind of right down into the final detail of just getting maybe up one more subdivision level and then just looking for little either imperfections or areas where you could tighten up the edge work. Like right here, I see a little like lumpiness in here that I would like take out. So when you kind of look at the highlights along that edge there, you can see it's sort of a little off. So you can smooth some of it down a little. And then, oops, clay fill it. I don't know if that helped or made it worse. Sometimes that clay fill doesn't work well on small, like cylinder surfaces, and it's just better to smooth it a little bit. And then once you do that, you come back and just get some of your line work in there. And with her, I don't think it needs to be anything intense. She's got pretty soft details, but just enough to kind of indicate where they're at, even like right here. And then you could also do that same treatment on the hands that I was showing on the other characters, just a little bit more line work in here. Like that. And then on her shirt here, yeah, it's lost a little bit of the edge detail on it. So instead of redoing a lot of that, so I think with this one, like you can see the topology on it's kind of all over the place from probably the Dynamesh. So when you start coming in here and using like this to create an edge on it, sometimes it won't work because of that. Sometimes I'll try to see if I can get away with some of it. But if it doesn't work and I'm wanting a little bit more of an edge, go into geometry and see remesher and take this up a little, like here maybe, and see if that cleans it up a little. Yeah, so you've got a little bit more like edge loops and stuff to work with. But I would just try to, some of the areas even like right here where it's sort of either losing the form or going back into the character, I would just create a little more separation and then try to build it up a little bit if you can. And then subdivide it. And then just any little like kind of lumpiness on here too, I would, like it doesn't really need to form to her back right there. It could probably be kind of coming away from it a little bit. So just sort of smoothing it a little and then pulling it back out. Yes, even in here, like you could get just a little bit more edge detail like I started getting right here. Okay. So see how you can see that edge now, how it's catching the light a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of what you want to see instead of it just kind of rounding out or in there. And then just real subtle things like the curvature on the where the collar is goes up. And not sure what it's doing in the back, but usually it's kind of the opposite in the back. And then there's like a little fold in there too. So you would probably see some kind of a transition. And then I'd probably turn off symmetry and, you know, just do, it's probably a little too heavy. Just a little something in there to get the transition. It's a little too lumpy. Could be softer. Okay. And wings too. Again, just a little more edge work on here with here. Kind of doing this a little rough. Okay, and then, yeah, so you got them curving in. I think that's cool. And then under the shirt. Yeah. The edges on these right here, I think could be a little softer. Just in contrast to your character overall, it's just kind of a harsh edge. So I'm just kind of hitting the edges a little bit. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, anywhere where you kind of have opportunities to just clean any lines up, I would do that. Like around here, the boot, like there's an inconsistency of the boot thickness, like some of it's going into her leg and some is not. So just try to be getting that. There we go. Just being consistent with the thickness as it goes around, and then dragging that pinch brush around the edge here too will also help. Okay. All right, I think that's it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then anyone else? Is everybody else doing okay with their characters, or feeling, you're all feeling like you're making progress? And you know, what I can do on Monday is just kind of touch base with everybody. If you have questions, I'll just be on here. I won't make it mandatory because it's not an actual class, but I could just go ahead and open up Zoom. And if you need some feedback, I'll just be hanging out here for drop-ins. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right.
Carol?
Well, yes.
I have a question about my character. I upload the image in Shogun. Could you help me to look at it?
Sure.
So for the build, I have no idea how to do it in Maya. No.
This right here.
Yeah. Yes.
This piece right here you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the artwork. It kind of looks like a wrap or something, or strap going around and then tying together here. I think trying to decide if Maya is the right way to do it. Let me kind of play around with something offline. I might try actually doing it inside of Maya, or sorry, ZBrush, using a insert multi-mesh. So the thing with these multi-meshes, they don't really work once you've subdivided it. This is doing something weird here. So I might just create like a little tube in here and then try pulling it together, or just creating some really simple shapes out in Maya. So this character's pretty different shape, but it could be, you could bring your character in here, and then if you select it and say, make it live, you can draw curves to the surface. And then go to curves and draw something. Across the surface here. I think I've got the wrong curve tool here. Let's try this one. So once I have that kind of going across her surface, I can make some detail, just some adjustments here so it's not right up against the body by grabbing these, pulling them out. I've got edge slide on. I probably have to make that. There, now it moves. And Once I have that kind of how I want it, then you can turn it into a tube. So this will create the shape. And I think it's grab the curve here. So the curve, that, and extrude. So it's all of these over here. So it's a tube, it's at the path component, polygon, and then I selected them opposite. So it's this first, then that, there. And what I probably should have done is just rebuilt the curve first. The curve doesn't really quite have enough on it. So you can go to curves and rebuild. And then uniform. See if that'll do it. Yeah, so see how it gave it more points, and those points are going to determine your edges once they convert to a polygon. And then I can also hide that one. Make some adjustments like that. And then go back here. Okay, and then this determines the size of it. So I'd get it a little smaller like that. And yeah, so I'd probably bring in something like this, and then it looks like it's a little flatter over there, so I might try to just shape it in here a little bit first, where I'm. So I just hit B for soft select, and then, whoops, I just lost that. And then under soft select for your tools, you can change the fall off mode. So there's volume. This is probably going to be surface, so it follows the curvature. And then if I hold down B and grab that again, do this so I can control the fall off. Then I can sort of flatten it out a little bit like that. That. So it just allows you kind of to shape it a little bit more here. And then I'd extrude it to get the thickness. Like that. And I don't know if you need to cap these off because I think they disappear on the character, but you may need to cap those off first. And the way you would do that, you do it before you would extrude it. So you would just grab your edge here and say fill hole right there. So I'm just holding down shift, right mouse clicking, and then you have to redraw your edges in here with this. Okay, and then you do the same thing up here. And connect the edges. Oops. And then do your extrude. Push it in. So you can push it in or pull it out. If you pull it out, you don't have to flip the normals on it. Okay, so then it's got all the, actually you don't need to extrude it. Once you've got the caps on there, you don't need to extrude it because it's done. Try maybe smoothing it over here just so it's not so low poly. So maybe do that. And then save it out as export it as a OBJ. And then you would take it over in here and through your tools here, you would just import it and then kind of sculpt it into the shape that you want it, just using the move tool mostly. Just move it into place and then you would mirror it over through Z plugin, Subtool Master, mirror it over.
Okay.
Okay, and then you could just create that little clip or something using a cube in here. Just do append, and then you can either append something in here, like I don't see anything in here. All these 3D ones are not really great. You want the poly ones, and I don't see any in here right now. Oops. Yeah, that one doesn't really work. Yeah, they're not really. So I would even make like just a little cube over in Maya and then just import it in as a OBJ just to get that last little bit of detail on here.
Okay.
Yeah, but this looks almost like a little cloth or something. Or maybe it is leather, I'm not sure, but it looks like it's flexible to me. Yeah. And then it looks like maybe it fastens down. I don't know if it goes around her all the way, but it looks like it's holding, the intention of it is to hold this little flap right here, this one here. I think it attaches here, comes in, and then maybe it goes behind her, or maybe it looks like it just attaches right here on the side of her belt. And I think it's just to hold whatever this is. And then I'm not sure how you have this on the back side of her, but I think it just maybe sits underneath the helmet and goes around her neck like this. Goes around like that. Okay. So that's what I would do. I would just make something simple like that. You could even just, I don't think you need to even do all the steps I did. You could just probably start with a cylinder and shape it, or bring a cylinder in here and move it inside of ZBrush, which would be a lot faster. But just create a cylinder in Maya that doesn't have the triangles on the top and the bottom. So that would look like if you brought it in here and shape this out like this. If you hit T, you can change your subdivision. So I'd probably go down to like, you need something divisible by 4. So usually I'll do like 12 or 16 or something. Doesn't like it when you've moved it. So 12, and then I would add some in the height, just so that once I start doing this, I don't have to go back in and add them. And then on the top here, to get rid of the triangles is pretty quick. You just go to Edge, select every other one, and just hit Delete, and then it quads it. Okay. So this, you could probably just take this straight in, maybe flatten it a little bit like that. And then if you want it to have a little more edge quality, you could do, whoops, like this to sort of flatten it a little bit on the front. So see how it's doing that? It's gotten a little out of whack on the top there, but just export that and bring it in. And then I think you could probably just bend it around with the move tool a lot faster than doing the whole curve process I did up here. You can just form it to the surface of the character. Because to me, it looks like it, actually it is form fitting. So it is going around her jacket like you have it here. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then anybody else over here load stuff in? I think Chris already left. But, okay, and I think we went over everybody else's. So yeah, so Monday, I'll just be kind of hanging out here from 10:15 till probably like 12:30 or so. If you want to drop in for any feedback, that's fine.
Hey, Professor,
Yes.
I have a question. I didn't understand the prompt of the guy. I can't even talk. I'm sorry. Of the prompt. Do you want us to email you to remind you, or like how is that? Because
Yeah.
my,
Yeah, if you can just email me saying I left my my files are inside the lab and I don't have a, just telling me that you don't have a separate copy of it at home. The only original copy that you have is in the lab, and then I'm going to forward those. I'll compile a list, give it to Andy, and then see if we can retrieve those from the lab before they start wiping the computers.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
but how would you do that? Would you just go in on computers and get it, or?
No, I think what would happen is Andy may give a list. He may have to go in physically, or it may be something that he could retrieve remotely by going into the computers. And if you remember what computer number you were sitting on, that would be really helpful to identify it because they're separate. They're not sharing any drive or anything like that. So if you remember where you sat in the classroom when you had that working on the prop, if you don't remember the number, you can kind of just tell me where you were in the room and I should be able to find the number.
Oh, okay, but what happens if you don't know the number? Do we tell you what row we sat?
Yeah, if you can tell me the row, like the front row starts with number 1, like the first computer is number 1, and then the last computer is 6, I think. I think there's 6 on there.
Okay,
Or
because
5.
okay, just to let you know, because like with my project, you transferred me to Maya, and my prompt Maya didn't even work, so I don't know how you're gonna get my prompt. My prompt. Do you know how you would do that?
I don't know yet. I would just try to start by retrieving the files off the computer. I think you were sitting on number 3 in the classroom.
Actually, it's number 2.
Number 2? Yeah.
Row 1 and seat number 2.
Okay, seat number 2. Yeah, so I would start by going in there and looking for files under your login and probably just extracting those.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know what they plan on doing, if they're going to do a backup of stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of files on there from all the different classrooms. So I think that's a conversation we all need to have as far as like the faculty, like how students are going to retrieve their files that have been left on there for the first part of the semester.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Okay, but yeah, if you could just send me an email reminder, because I can't remember everybody in class, that would be helpful. And then I'll put a list together for Andy.
Okay.
And make him figure it out. So, all right, so if that's it, then I'll see everybody just kind of ongoing feedback here on Shotgun, and then back here on Monday for drop-ins, but not mandatory.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
All right, have a good weekend.
Thank you too.